Hello, everyone out there. I decided to do a bit of a live stream. We're getting a lot of questions out there about the Kickstarter campaign, and I thought, you know what? It's been a while since I just reached out, and I thought, why not reach out back and say, hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching, and thanks for helping. So if you do have a question, if you do have a comment that you want to throw up there, just put it in the chat. I'll be able to address it and whatnot. But I just want to go through the Kickstarter campaign, where we're at, where we might be headed, and tackle some of the most frequently asked questions and look at the updates and some of the items that have been added, and just to help clarify certain things. A lot of it seems pretty straightforward. More than anything, I just wanted to say, hi, how's it going? Big shout out to Brandon, who's our first person to say hi. Hi, Brandon. How's it going? I'm going to see if I can do a quick little screen share here, so I can just bring it up. Do just this. There we go. So that's the campaign, as you can see. Hey, Nathan. Thanks for watching, man. Tater, the toy guy, super excited about the progress. Awesome. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. How's it going, Matthias? How you doing? During an Apple event. Oh, I guess I got stiff competition today. So be it. Well, hey, so be it. This will be archived. People will be able to watch this later. I like our chances already. So again, guys, I just want to go through the campaign to see where we're at, and I want to give some particular shout outs as well. So I'm just going to jump over to the campaign page, and then I'll come back and look at it. Let's take a look at the community, because this is a big deal for me. So I want to highlight this: 702 backers. That's amazing. But what's really amazing to me is that 150 of those backers are first-time Kickstarter backers. That means they had to choose to go through the whole rigmarole of setting up a Kickstarter profile and account just to see this project come to fruition. That's awesome, and thank you so much if you're one of those 150 people that are new to Kickstarter. We will do your best. We'll do our best to make sure that you feel that effort and the campaign experience was awesome. People that have done campaigns with me before know that I like to keep very up to date. If you're a part of Faking Filmation, you know I like to keep you up to date, as you've seen with all the updates that we throw out there. 552 returning backers. And look at this. So top cities of our backers are here. So London, the UK, has 19 backers. It's almost like that influence of Mr. James Etok, who hails from the UK, has some sort of influence. And then we got LA. And then Melbourne, Australia comes in at number 3 with 8 backers. This is another cool stat that I like. So we talked about having 702 backers, but a lot of campaigns get most of their backers from the US. Here, that's only 463. So it's about 2/3. That means 1/3 of our backers are from outside America, and that is a very big deal. Look, the UK is leading it again with 75 and number 2, and Canada is at number 3 with 38. Australia is down here. Sorry for my Aussie friends, but Germany has a strong 4th place showing. So I'm just going to flip back to see any comments that are coming on here. Here we go. Matthew is a first-time backer. That's awesome. Thanks so much. Good afternoon. What is our projected goal for May 6th? Well, I'll see if I can bring up KickTrack later on and see what they say. Let's dive into some of the updates. I'm just going to kind of rewind time, get in our flux capacitors, folks, and let's see if this actually loads. It's thinking. It's thinking. So here we go. Just going to back it up a bit. So obviously we did it very early on. This is obviously a big one. We did it. We hit the 30K. I've given a bunch of interviews already where I thought, I didn't know that we would ever hit our base goal of $30,000, and we did it fairly quickly thanks to all your help. So everything that happens going forward, is quite the blessing and overwhelmingly amazing. Stretch goal number 1, which was $37,500 US, got defeated, I think, a day or so after we hit our base goal. And that gives us essentially alternate artwork. Let's see if it'll load. So basically everybody that is getting a DVD or a Blu-ray will also get this piece of art. Now, it's not going to be this piece specifically because there's tons of legal issues with what James has designed here, but it'll be something for the return of Faker that you can just slip inside the DVD or Blu-ray cover so it can make it feel like the official release. So we're figuring out what that is going to be, or rather James is figuring out what that's going to be, and we will make it happen. And then almost at 50K, wow, new tiers, new add-ons. So this is where I first started getting questions from you guys here, and then I'll flip back to the chat and take a look. Will we create new reward tiers above 99? The short answer is no, guys. We're not going to do that because we're trying to really focus on just making sure that this documentary gets well and not over stretching ourselves and promising too much, and still, you know, giving enough out there to everybody who's, you know, pledging their support with, you know, taking the cost out of doing that and making sure that the film can profit from it. So it's really hard to create new tiers kind of out of nowhere. It's amazing to have the demand that we have, but it's hard to, you know, juggle that around. One of the biggest requests was more executive producer tiers. So we increased it to 10, which is great. Now those have all been fulfilled from what I remember. So that's no more. We got to keep these things special and limited. And I thank my 10 awesome executive producers who are now part of this and who will be kind of, you know, on the inside loop here to answer all their questions all the way. So there we go. And my junior executive upstairs is tapping away. So I apologize for that, folks. How can we raise more money for the campaign if we don't create new add-on tiers? The simple thing is, guys, this is a numbers game now. We have to get the campaign out to people that aren't a backer already. Let's get, you know, them signed up for the digital reward for $19. For that, they get the documentary film plus our bonus content. No questions asked, all in one package, reasonable price. There you go. And of course, if they want a Blu-ray or a DVD, they get a lot of stuff too. And then of course, we did add a new tier, and that's a sponsorship tier. If you want your company's brand, your logo or your event or your con or your podcast or your YouTube channel at the beginning of Faking Filmation, this is the tier for you. You get everything in the executive producer tier, but you get to have your logo right up at the top. So when the film begins, it's all those sponsor tiers, and then the movie begins. It's a fun way to get going. Let me jump back to the chat right now. Here we go. If we got a question from Dave's Empire. If someone has backed at the 2-disc Blu-ray level and then added the VHS, do they automatically get any add-ons? I'm not sure what you're specifically meaning there, Dave. You'll have to clarify what you mean automatically get any add-ons. Are you talking about the stuff that James has recently offered to people? I'm happy to go into that now, and I'll circle back to it later as well. But specifically, when James had recently announced the $99 pledge level, you have to back at the $99 pledge level regardless of add-ons in order to get the turnaround sheet and your name in the credits of the return of Faker. There's a bunch of reasons for this, but the main one is ease, in which that we can say, okay, these people and everybody higher are getting this, because someone that lives in Australia versus someone that lives in the US could back at the $69 level, but because shipping is more money, the amount that they're pledging reflects the shipping dollars as well. So it's skewed, and one person would get it and one person wouldn't. So we have to look at the tiers that people are backing, not the pledge amount per se. It's tricky to put all this rules and information and all this stuff that James is trying to do outside of our campaign. And he has to operate outside of the campaign because there's legal boundaries of what he's doing and what we're documenting and being able to showcase as part of our story. Matthew wants to know, with the digital download, is it a promo code you enter on a site? Do you log in somewhere? Wondering if we can buy some and gift them later. Unfortunately, it's not able to buy some and gift them later. That's why there's no add-ons for it. These are unique codes that you'll get that will tie to a Vimeo account. So if you have Vimeo, then you're set and good to go. If you don't have Vimeo, sign up. It's free, and we will email you a unique code. So when you redeem it, everything will show up in your Vimeo library, and you'll be able to watch it there. We aren't selling these as add-ons because these are something that'll go on sale at a later date. And then if you want to purchase it, then you can do that. The big thing for Kickstarter is I've never been a fan of doing digital rewards because chances are you're going to be able to get it digitally down the road. But discs and stuff aren't always a guarantee, especially when it comes to independent documentaries on pop culture subjects with very small followings. I mean, Masters is huge, of course, but in the grand scope of things, it's still a small group of people compared to like other franchises out there. So getting discs made for indie documentaries is never something that seems to happen. So this is our opportunity to really sell them. Dave says he's talking about the Viewmaster. So no, you'd have to add on the Viewmaster and anything else that you want on top of your pledges. I know the Viewmaster is $30, and you've got the $69 tier, so that would be $99. But no, the Viewmaster is outside of getting your name in the credits. So if you want to have your name in the credits back at the associate producer level, we haven't capped that for things like this. Now there might be hundreds of associate producers, so it might not feel that special, but you're going to get tons of stuff for that. And one of those special things is, of course, having your name in the credits of the return of Faker, which, of course, is part of this, or at least how we're presenting it is a version of it and how we're doing it, because we're showing process and how things were done, much like you saw in the trailer on Kickstarter as well. Let me jump back to, we're getting best wishes from Mundo Master Association from Spain. Thank you guys so much. You rock. Let me jump back to the campaign page, guys. So they're on separate tabs, and I can't see both things at once. So this was the almost at 50K. So what happened after that? 50K and beyond. So we hit it. We hit our ultimate stretch goal of 50K, which, like I said, I wasn't even sure that we were going to get 30K, and it's so wonderful that we have. And then we hit 50K, and it's like, oh wow, this is really great. I'm not going to have to max out credit cards to finish this film probably. And I should say, on the campaign page, you'll see that we're estimating this film to cost $130,000. So the more that we get via Kickstarter, the easier it is for us to finish, and the quicker as well, because that means we'll have the cash. We won't have to go do other film projects or corporate work or wait for something to come in before we can, keep filming this stuff in chunks. So the more we get, the easier it is to produce, and the more stuff we can include, and the more people we can interview. You guys know the spiel. So that was awesome. It also mentioned in this update, I was on a couple of different shows here, specifically, if it loads. It's thinking. We've got lots of internet usage going on in my house right now with my son doing online school. So it might take a minute, but it's also a little bit of Kickstarter. It's a little clunky when it comes to loading some stuff for me that I found. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we just crossed the 50K mark in 7 days. So yeah, Clownfish TV has backed us and created an awesome YouTube video. So check that out if you want to hear their thoughts on the campaign. Canned Air Podcast has talked to us as well. Oz Retro Gamer did an article as well. And if you guys do have a podcast or a site that you think should cover our campaign in the film, let me know. I've been on Legends of Grayskull since then, and I've got another upcoming interview and a few more in the works, but always would love to have more exposure, because that's what gets us to the next stretch goal. Let's see here. A new add-on added, which was the Viewmaster, the retro slide viewer, because Viewmaster, of course, is a copyrighted name. So we thought this would be a fun thing. We don't want to create new reward tiers. So if we can come up with something that's fun, unique, and fits the campaign, we're going to do it. And a retro slide viewer is a great way to kind of relive, those 80 days. I remember having them as a kid, and just being in the car and putting them up to the window, because you need a bright background, and then being able to go through them and take out the reels and checking them out again. And we're thinking of a few different ways that we can do the reels on this, because our campaign and our documentary, which is the big thing that we're doing, because it focuses on process and James's story and how the return of Faker came to be and how it was executed, and hopefully gets released depending on what happens in our journey. We'll probably make it a process-driven reel. So you might see a storyboard and then the actual cell, and a storyboard and the actual cell, or a couple sequences in order, so that you can see kind of, cause and effect in A, B, and C. Mystery stretch goal revealed. So on our second Faker Friday, which was last Friday, we teased that there was a mystery stretch goal of $65,000. And if we hit that, something cool would happen. And then we revealed that it was going to be a mini comic that we will include for anybody that is backed a physical reward at $29 and up. So if you're backing the DVD or the Blu-ray or even the VHS, you're going to get a mini comic with everything. We'll probably include it separately when we ship, for people that want to read it and see it. so they don't have to open their Blu-ray or the DVD case if they don't want to, because everybody for the most part is getting the digital version of stuff. And we found with other campaigns that people want to keep some of the stuff sealed, especially since it's signed and will be wrapped and all their autographs are underneath that. So we want to package the mini comics separately in case they want to kind of go through it. Now it's an 8-page mini comic. There was a typo in the update when I said it was a 4-page thing. It's actually an 8-page mini comic. So I apologize for the miscommunication there, but 8 is better than 4. And James is still weighing whether he wants to do a prequel or a sequel to The Return of Faker and how all that might play out. So he's got 8 pages to figure it out. Of course, the cover is part of those pages. So we'll share more as we can. Now, this next update was something that got people really excited, and some people are on the fence. And this, of course, was Fakers of the Omniverse. And this was a potential action figure add-on that we were going to do. And we spent some time talking about it. We did a 3D mock-up of what a figure might look like, and some packaging, just enough so that anybody that was looking at the campaign could go, okay, maybe I want this, maybe I don't. And the idea was, okay, if James's cartoon is unofficial, maybe we can come up with an unofficial action figure that can kind of go along with the whole thing, like the Viewmaster, right? It's not a real Viewmaster. It's certainly a knockoff. So unofficial and fake and all that. Some people didn't like the design, and that's fair. We didn't spend a ton of time trying to figure it out or really hone it, and we just wanted to see what we could do, mainly to gauge how much interest there was. And there was a lot of interest. I would say 80% of people were like, yeah, I definitely want an action figure. But half of those people were like, I want an action figure, but not that action figure. And the other 40% were like, yeah, I like it, but it's going to depend on cost. Now, we're not action figure makers. I started all this saying, I make movies, I make documentaries, I'm a storyteller. I don't want to go down the road of having to produce, molds and have stuff shipped from China. That sounds like a lot of work when I could spend that energy just making a really great film for you guys, since clearly you believe in such a thing. So ultimately, the next update talks about it's not going to happen. Now, there might be some work that happens behind the scene. Ken Coleman was working on the action figure with myself, and he's going to keep testing the waters to see what's possible. What I really liked about an action figure, and I haven't seen too many done like this, was he wanted to do an LJN 80s wrestler approach, which is basically, solid rubber, like a vulcanized rubber kind of almost bendable kind of guy. I don't have too many action figures like that, but I thought that was a really cool approach to it, and it would save a ton of time on tooling and articulation. But again, that is a whole ball of wax that I don't want to get into and try to rush a price and turn around and cost for the sake of the campaign, upping it, and then that be like the one thing that people are soured on when it couldn't really come to fruition. So if there's a way that works out down the road, of course, everybody's going to have a chance to kind of look at it and weigh in then. For now, we're pumping the brakes and really just trying to focus time management, focusing on what matters and getting the best possible thing out there. So the most recent thing, and I talked about it earlier in the chat, is James has made a very generous offer, and that, of course, is the $99 pledge. If you back at the associate producer level, you will get your name in the credits of The Return of Faker. Now, this is, fantastic, because not only are you getting your name in the credits of the documentary about James's story, but James is offering to piggyback off of that. If you're cool with it, you get your name into The Return of Faker. I would love my name in the end credits of The Return of Faker. I can't back this project, so I can't get my name in it. You guys can, so you're better than I am. Good for you. It's a really cool opportunity. I really think it is. And, whether James is able to get the cartoon released or not, everybody that's part of this campaign will get to see it. And that's a big thing I don't think people are realizing. You're going to get to see it. It's going to be surrounded by pop-up video balloons pointing different things out, almost picture-in-picture style, with it up centered of the, like a 4K image, and it's kind of there, or 2K, depending on Vimeo's limitations. And you'll see different things pop up. So you'll have to watch it 2 or 3 times to get all the different, facts and trivia about how scenes were cobbled together and what the process was. But you're only going to get that if you back this campaign. And that's pretty special, that everybody that believes in it is going to have a chance to see it. And, if somebody uploads it to YouTube, we can't control all 703 of you now, but it'll get copyright striked and have takedown. James has to protect that because he doesn't want to have a lawsuit on his hands if it gets released. Now, that's whether he's allowed to release it, depending on what happens on his journey, or whether he's not allowed. So if somebody were to get a copy of the Return of Faker, he would have to take action to stop it from being shown, or he would land in hot water because it's his creation. He has to defend that, even when that means making sure it is not out there so he is not liable. So if you guys love James, and of course the 703 of you clearly say you do, then you will not, upload this stuff and get James in hot water. So that means we're a small group of people now that are the only ones that get to see this thing. And your name gets shared with everybody out there like a badge of honor. Now, how cool would it be, though, if James managed, to twist the arms of whomever to get it out there? Then your name gets kind of shared throughout the entire world. That's really cool. I'm going to jump back to the chat here and see what's going on here. Andrew Kramer says, that's wicked that you hit the ultimate goal. Oh, man, you have no idea how wicked that is. Speechless already here. That image, the glow in the dark, would make an awesome magnet. Sure, yeah, that's a good idea. We're looking at stuff like that. We're getting a YouTube link here from Matthew Dutch. I don't know what it is, so I'm guessing that is the interview that you and I did on Legends Grayskull. Yeah, it sounds like it. Nathan is chiming in. Will you be selling T-shirts through RetroRags? Asking for Danny. Well, yeah. Danny said, no, I would love to back at the executive producer level, but there's no T-shirts. Now, T-shirts are a very tough thing to do, guys, because you've got to consider both men and women in various sizes. So I don't want to have a garage full of T-shirts. But our great partners at RetroRags, Motu Joe, of course, runs that ship over there. He's been awesome with our other projects, the Jay and Rob Toy Show, which is now a new TV show based on our podcast, Action Figure Adventure. And we're looking at other things that we can do based on our pop culture entities. Of course, he's down to help Faking Filmation. I just want to have a cool design that just isn't our poster. And right now we're trying to focus, again, efforts on the campaign, making sure that it runs well. I'm doing everything I can to respond to your messages as quickly as I can in your comments so that I can fill in any gaps with any info that you guys need. So just doing my very best. And so a T-shirt will happen. Executive producers will get it if they want it, and then everybody else will have a chance to order it as well, probably outside the campaign, just for the sake of time, unless I can twist some arms and get some stuff happening sooner. It takes a lot of money to do this stuff. We've already spent thousands of dollars, if you can believe that, just to get the trailer done and to get everything up to this point and not taking on other work. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into these campaigns. It's they say running a Kickstarter campaign is like a full-time job, and it is. So imagine all the work you have to do leading up to the launch, then during it, while still doing everything during a pandemic, which is never fun. $65,000 stretch goal is amazing. We are less than $500 away right now. We're at 64,522 with 703 backers. We're just over 2 weeks left as well. This is about the halfway point of the campaign, and we've done phenomenal. He wants the double pages. Yeah, double pages for free from 4 pages to 8. That's right. Kyle's saying he wants the Rob McCallum documentary filmmaker action figure. There's an Alfred Hitchcock action figure that Mondo made a while ago, and it's pretty great. I bet you could probably just take his head off of it and put my head on it. It would probably look pretty similar. Maybe the attire would be different, but that would be a good start to a Kit Bash kind of custom figure of me. Sam wants to know, will the episode be available in iTunes? Sam, I just want to clarify, do you mean the Return of Faker episode, or do you mean Faking Filmation, which is the documentary about James Eatock, his journey, and the Return of Faker? So chime in when you can. Matt's chiming in as well. You've been amazing running this campaign, so transparent, informative, and you are everywhere. Great job. I am trying my very best. I feel like I am not doing enough. I feel like I am floundering in so many ways when it comes to this campaign, but it's only because I'm overwhelmed with the response of everybody and what everybody's doing and how they're reaching out to me. I feel like most of my time is spent just interacting with people instead of searching out new people. But as I keep interacting with people that are kind of already on backers, more people seem to find the campaign and get caught up with it and on board. So it's a good problem to have. It's just there's never enough time. There's never enough people or things out there to help spread the word. I do want to give a huge shout out to James himself. James is a solid dude. He is a huge believer in the work that I make, and we didn't know each other that well before we started talking about this a couple of years ago. So he's taking a huge kind of leap of faith on me. And I think that says a lot. And you see the stuff that he's creating and his amazing art that he's doing for all these social media posts. He's putting a ton of time into promoting this because, I mean, his story is worth telling. And I think that's pretty awesome. I want to also give a shout out to Tater the Toy Guy, Nathan, you'll see in the chat here. He did a lot of help pulling animated clips for the trailer as well, and just talking behind the scenes. And he's logistics and research support for me and my company on a couple different projects now, and couldn't do this trailer and probably the campaign as well without someone like that behind the scenes. So it's great. Sam's chiming back in now. Will the episode and the documentary be available on iTunes? It's a good question. It depends on what happens with distribution. The episode, that'll depend on what happens in James's story. The way we're presenting the episode, it will not be on iTunes. Doing bonus features is incredibly expensive for an independent release. It's also kind of one of the things that separates our Kickstarter opportunities apart from our retail opportunities. So Kickstarter is like the fan special edition type thing where you get the main thing, the feature, the film, the documentary, but you also get all this extra bonus content that gets made. And in this case, that's the Return of Faker and how we're talking about its presentation and the process. But when we go to sell Faking Filmation to a distributor, or we do it ourselves through some channels that we built already and try to get it released somewhere in stages, it'll usually go point of sale, VOD, maybe sometimes subscription based video on demand, sometimes not, sometimes just point of purchase, or broadcast as the case in other opportunities. There aren't bonus features that are a part of that. So this is like, could be literally your only chance the next 16 days to get your own copy of The Return of Faker if James is unsuccessful. Now, if James is successful and he can persuade the rights holders, then they may choose to have this released somehow, or at least screened publicly or something. I can't speak on their behalf if they choose to acquire The Return of Faker and what their plans might be, or what they would allow James to do under what conditions. It's so speculative that it's beyond my scope. But the deal that I have with James regarding The Return of Faker is that it's part of the documentary. It's a process-driven thing. I'm not gratuitously just including it as like, here, look, this is what it's about. It has to be a show and tell, an educational enlightenment experience where it raises the value of what James has done and to inform in a way that the audience couldn't see without the context of the documentary. That's where I'm coming from. That's the deal I have with James. That's why it's part of the campaign. Let's see what else is happening in the chat here. Dave's Empire was the Otis figure might work as a Rob stand-in, perhaps. Steve wants to know, why wasn't the goal set higher to get funded? Being over 100,000 is needed, as you said. Well, Steve, it's a real simple thing. Kickstarter is super difficult to raise money on. It's almost become like a pre-buy opportunity for stuff that's 6 months away. Now, I am very familiar with making documentaries, and you'll see that they take 3 to 5 years on average. I'm usually good in the 2 to 3 year range. But I've got funds and I've got other projects coming in, and I knew that if I could get 30,000, that would allow me to do so much of the film in one kind of big chunk when it comes to filming that I'd be able to afford to do the other stuff piecemeal as needed. So it's not like day one, for the 2 years and we don't stop until the end of the 2 years. It's I need that 30K, less Kickstarter fees, less item cost fees, less shipping fees, in order to shoot this big, massive part of it over these many days. And then when you start doing the math that way, you're like, okay, I can afford to do that. I can wait to pay legal and wait to pay insurance and that, $25,000 or whatever it is until the film is finished, until we have a buyer. I can wait to pay people that might defer wages, or I can wait to pay music or graphics until later, but I can get the film in the can for this amount. Now that we've got 50,000, I can choose to do more sooner because I have more money to spend with. So how come the goal isn't set at 100,000? Well, because I want to make sure that we can actually get the film. And if I can get the film for 30 and now 50 plus, then that's better. Because Kickstarter is all or nothing. There's different versions that this film can be and different ways that we can make it in different stages. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's like a slide puzzle. You have to move pieces around in order to kind of get it done. And there's ways to do it when you get creative like that. Sweden in the house. Here we go. Congrats on the goal. This is amazing. Thank you. Kyle says, I shared this on my Facebook page, maybe reel in a few backers. We're at 64,584 now, which is great. 703 backers. Joey says, sorry late to the show as we are going to be able to see the full Return of Faker episode. How did you bypass the cease and desist? Sorry to be in late to the show. I just pledged. So Joey, I kind of touched on it a little bit. We haven't bypassed the cease and desist. The cease and desist has been issued to James, where he's not allowed to screen this publicly anywhere in any capacity, yada, yada, yada. That's James's deal. I am documenting James's story, and specifically the Return of Faker and how he created, and that process that he created is so fascinating to me, and how it ties into cartoon culture, the evolutions of cartoons, TV, and all that kind of together. So I'm not bypassing the cease and desist, but I am definitely doing a show and tell, a fair use approach to what that cartoon is and how it was made and why it was made that way, and why that is special today is because of its stance and its place within all of cartoons. It's really unique, and you couldn't swap any of those pieces out. It has to work this way in order for me to be able to do that. It's really complicated and it's really hard to explain. And I'm not a lawyer, but I have talked to my lawyers and attorneys, and they say this should work without, kind of question with the way you want to do it. It's all speculative because nothing's shot and created yet. But in principle, this is the plan going forward. So, and as you'll see in the campaign, I said, our goal is to do this. Who knows if we're going to get hit with something as we try to do this. We're going to pivot. We're going to try and do what we can. And our goal is to release the Return of Faker episode, like I said, as a process piece so that you understand how every second of that cartoon was made, with references to other, episodes of He-Man that were used, or James's thought process, or where Easter eggs and trivia are in there, and why certain things appear that they do, so that you understand the thought that went into it and the actual process behind creating it. That's where we're coming from, and that's why you guys will be able to see it and check it out. Kyle's chiming, Hitchcock body, Marvel Legends, Volstagg head, voila, Rob McCallum custom action figure. Well, I think maybe the Thor Endgame, the bigger Thor guy that just got released, maybe that could work into there somehow. Andrew Bauer says, appreciate the Q&A. Help me understand the project in both the documentary and the cartoon releases much better. The Blu-ray is definitely in my future now. Well, thank you, Andrew. Never hesitate to throw out a question. I just thought maybe now is a good time to kind of do a Q&A like this and reach out and see what people think. Kind of fill in the gaps where I can. Try to be transparent as much as I can and give you guys the information you need to make the decisions to help support whatever spot on the reward tier wheel suits you best, whether it's the digital copy at $19, or you want your name, your logo, your sponsor there to be a part of a sponsor up at front, have your your logo, your podcast. How cool would it be if your podcast, especially if it's a Masters of the Universe podcast, is shown at the front of this documentary about Filmation and He-Man and James E-Talk and other cartoons as well? That would be a pretty cool thing, I think. Does James have Erica Scheimer's blessing? Has she seen clips? Now, this is an interesting question, Steve. I don't know, and I haven't asked because I want to discover it on camera, what James and Erica know about the cartoon in particular. They are close. I don't want to say friends, but certainly colleagues. They're well aware of each other. Erica has agreed to participate in the documentary. I met Erica when I was filming Power of Grayskull, Definitive History of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe with some colleagues from around here. And when she said, my dad was one of the pioneering people with Filmation of Saturday morning cartoons, that's when the lights for this whole thing went off. I'm like, how do I do a documentary on Filmation, knowing that Filmation was at the beginning of Saturday morning cartoons? And of course, Filmation ends as the last American animation studio in '89. And so there's a beginning and an end story. And I thought, what is the other vehicle I could put together so that there's a current day story I can tell with another story that happened surrounding all of this cartoon stuff that we all still, eat, breathe, and just enjoy. And so Erica was like, yeah, I totally want to be on board with this. I think what James, has done and shown over the years, because James had shown clips of PowerCon and talked about it a lot online. She's like, yeah, I think that's great. It's a great tribute to everything my dad and his company did. Paraphrasing, of course. So yeah, she's very much aware. I don't know what she's seen directly. I know that's something we got to capture on camera. We do have other people from Filmation that do have reactions that I have seen to it, which is awesome. Silver Knight Kyle is still talking about the action figure. The fig has got to come with a rocking guitar accessory, though, seeing as you're a rock star as well, sir. How am I a rock star, Kyle? What have I done to rock and roll in your eyes? That's very kind of you. I'm going to flip back over to the campaign page just for a second to see if there's anything that I have missed. I don't think that there has. Right now, we are sitting at $64,629, now with 704 backers. So just doing this alone, we've jumped up 100 or so bucks. Couple backers, and it's awesome. And I'm glad that there has been some valuable information here that I've been able to share. There's if you've got a question, now's the time. Reach out. I'm happy to answer anything that you've got. I really am. These personal insights you give us here are a big bonus as well. Well, I don't know if this is such a big bonus hearing and talking to me right here. I'll take it. I'll 100% take it. If you think it's good, I'll make that an add-on. Personal insights from Rob McCallum. Get them while they're hot. Smoke them if you got them, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I'm just really, really elated that you guys have embraced the campaign so well, above and beyond our dreams. One question that we did have was, is there another stretch goal after the $65,000? Sure, there could be. I mean, we got to hit 65 first, then maybe another mysterious stretch goal will appear at, 80,000 or 85,000 or 100,000. What would be some stretch goals that you guys want to see, or some possible add-ons? We do have a few things in the works when it comes to add-on, at least one really cool one that we're working on. We got to get cost on it, and I'm waiting to hear back. Third-party vendors is always the kryptonite of Kickstarter campaign creators, because it's always playing the waiting game, waiting on somebody else to do something. It's really hard. Again, I want to keep the focus on the documentary, the film, because that's what I do best, and nobody else is going to be able to stop me from doing that one thing. But there are some cool things that we can do that shouldn't be that hard. So we're trying to see what we can do. We've got a couple questions here. Can you tell us how long the episode will be? I'm referring to the return of Faker cartoon. I believe James said it's about 31 minutes right now. The official completed one right now is 31 minutes. At one point, James said he wanted to fix something in there, but that shouldn't affect the runtime. I think he said a color or something was off, or something was bothering him about it. It was just in passing. It wasn't anything serious, but it's a 31-minute cartoon right now. I watch it every night. I'm trying to tease you specifically on purpose. I could probably bring it up right here and kind of just watch it while we talk. You won't be able to see it, but is that a big deal? No, I'm not going to do that to you guys unless we fall short of that $65,000 goal. No, I wouldn't do that to you guys. Yeah, 31 minutes for the return of Faker, which is a pretty cool bonus. So you get a 31-minute bonus feature plus interviews and stuff like that from other people, uncut, extended, whatever you want to look at it, maybe deleted scenes. And of course, the 90-minute to 2-hour documentary. What are some stretch goals that you would like? We've got one question here. It says, need an add-on where you or James record a voice message for the backer. Is that something that you guys want? Do you really want me to record a voice message for you? What would I say? I see these kind of things happening in campaigns a lot, but I have no idea what I could say of value to somebody. Hey, it's Rob McCallum from Faking Filmation. You're the coolest, and I'm not being fake. Like, what do you want? Is that something that you want to hear? I mean, James, sure, that guy's like a rock star. That's the real rock star. He's a celebrity. Maybe his voice, talking about something is something that you want. If that's something you do want, say so. Nathan says, I cannot wait to watch it on VHS. That add-on is amazing. Well, this is the first campaign that we're doing a VHS, so I'm going to be quite curious to see how many of those VHSs go. It's been something that's been talked about. VHS collecting is obviously a newer form of collecting within the pop culture world. It's right up there with vinyls and action figures and other physical relics of a time forgotten. I'm glad that they're making a comeback and people are in tape trading again. There just seemed to be too much demand to not try to sort it out. So it's very cool that it's there. Andrew's chiming in again. If you're in with Erica Scheimer, snag some autographs for high backers. She's Filmation royalty. It's funny you mention autographs, because that is maybe one component of something that we're considering. For Power of Grayskull, the definitive history of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, we did have something that was really special. We had everybody that we interviewed signed. I think there was 4 sheets that we had of key art. There was 2 images and we had duplicates, and everybody from the crew got one, and we gave the last one to one special lucky backer to basically get autographs of everybody that was a participant that was willing to sign. We can't ever force people to sign these things. And so that was a cool thing to be able to bestow upon one backer. You guys think autographs would be something cool from the people that we meet along the way? Is that something of interest to you guys? Nathan says, how about an add-on that has a 5-minute video chat with you and James? Do people really want to hear me talk any more than I already am? Nathan, I had a weekly podcast that I was doing all the time. People are sick of my voice. Again, for James, I get it. Maybe not me. I'll have to talk to James and see if he's up to parlaying with some backers. If you guys are really vocal about this, put it in the Kickstarter comments. Say, how about an add-on for this? How about this? And that way the rest of the Kickstarter backers can chime in. We're at 64,629, 704 backers, 16 days to go, guys. I'm going to wrap it up right here, I think. It's been a wonderful impromptu Q&A live stream. I hope it's been informative. If this is something that you like and you want to see more of, I'm happy to chime in. I'm happy to talk and answer any questions. Doing this for 30, 40 minutes is easier than me writing a bunch of updates that might get confused or misconstrued. So maybe we'll try to do this next week and see where we're at. We'll make it a Tuesday thing if I can remember and keep the day straight. I just want to say thank you so much. Oh, we're getting a comment quickly here from Timothy. A faker cardboard cutout to fit the scale of the original Castle Grayskull cutout cardboard pieces. Oh, that's a cool one. I don't know about the legalities of selling an actual faker because, again, we don't own that character, and I don't want to monetize something that we don't own. There's apparently legal problems with doing such things. So we'll probably stay clear from that. But yeah, let me just say again, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and chat. This has been wonderful. Keep the campaign active. Put comments in there. I'm happy to respond when I can. A thumbs up, a smiley face. Thank you so much. This is awesome. Spread the word. Share the campaign link to as many people as you know. Get them on board, because everything that happens now is only going to bet basically the community as a whole. If the better this film gets to be, the better your rewards get to be, and the more that we can do. We want to keep rewarding you guys with stretch goals that don't cost extra money, that just keep giving you more and more and more for your generous support. So thank you so much. We'll try to do this again next week. If I forget or if I haven't announced it or something, just message me, shoot me a comment in the campaign, and I'll try to arrange something worthy to talk about. It's been a slice. Thank you so much. Cheers.